Welcome, lovers of art. I'm going to start the first of a foundational lesson project on how to draw. And many of you may know I am a self-taught artist. A lot of the things that I'm going to teach you, I've learned through my 20 years of teaching students. My first foundational course in college really didn't give me a foundation for how to draw. They expected me already knowing some of the things that I'm going to teach you step by step. So if you subscribe to my new video channel, I'm going to hopefully teach you from the beginning how to sit down and draw like a professional. So let me tell you, the first thing you need to know are the elements of art. Now, the space, line, shape, form, texture, value, and color are the basic elements that are like the foundation for learning how to read and write. My experience in teaching children how to read and write goes back to how I foundationally look at teaching people how to draw. So the first of these elements, space, is quite foundational in how you place things on your paper. You can have the absolute best drawing in the world and not have it centered on your piece of paper, or not have room to do the top of a head or the tail of a dog, and somehow have something lacking. So this first lesson is basically going to be all about space. So when you look at the space, that's actually the paper or the canvas or the wall that you're going to work on. And most artists operate on the basis of a third. There's a third in the foreground where you draw objects larger. It creates the illusion of depth into your picture. Then you have the middle ground. This is usually your main focus. It is where your eye needs to go first and follow out from that area. And then we have the background. Usually you think of the background as the mountains or the sky, and you draw objects smaller in the background. So here are a few little small illustrations to give you an idea. The way you turn your paper, either portrait or landscape, depends on how the depth will be created in your picture. Normally in portrait, like the still life here, I have a foreground where the vase sits on the table. The vase and the flowers are actually in the middle ground and come up into the background. This also gives you the positive space, which is the vase and the flowers, and the negative space, which is the background. Many of my students who first turn in pictures to me spend so much time on the positive space, and they forget that there just needs to be some time spent into the negative space, whether it's some shading, whether it's a neutral background color, or whether you're going to spend a lot of time like you would on a landscape. Whereas here, you'll notice the tree is not in the center of the space. It's over to the left-hand side, so there's plenty of interest in the foreground as well as mountains in the middle ground, and I can add clouds or other things to the sky in the background. So this is just the first thing that you need to consider as far as the elements and principles of design are concerned. So when you start to think about your space, usually think about your rule of thirds. Something in the foreground, something in the middle ground, something in the background. Thanks for watching, and come back soon and we'll talk about lines.